Dystopia Tonight. Dystopia Tonight.
Hey everyone, welcome to Dystopia Tonight. I'm your host, John Poveromo, and I'm here with director Amy Scott, whose new documentary on the Counting Crows, Have You Seen Me Lately, will be out December 18th. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, and thanks for not being totally terrified by that intro. I know it's alarming.
I was like, I'm totally into any dystopian fantasy. So Dystopian Tonight is a great idea for a podcast. Yeah,
It's literally started at mid-pandemic, and now I just feel like I'm the cause of it, because like I just like the amount of times like people and other people who've been on it or like have been checking in and been like, hey, this everything that's happening in the world sucks, but it must be great for dystopia tonight. And I'm like, oh, don't put it that way.
Add another clip to the reel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big fat intro.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's terrifying. I can't tell you one. Just again, thank you so much for coming on. How did you come about directing this kind of thing? Like, I mean, is it lifelong fan kind of a thing, or just what was the thing that drew you to it in the first place?
I'm a fan for sure of their music, and I'm a fan of Adam. But this actually came to me because I wanted to work with Bill Simmons, and The Ringer does this incredible series for HBO Docs called the Music Box series, and every one of their films is strikingly different from the other one. And I just thought, oh my God, I would love to do something with them. And so there was another film that we'd kicked around a couple of film ideas, and Bill Simmons was like, I did an interview with Adam on my podcast a couple of years ago, and he's an incredible storyteller.
Yeah.
And he was really sort of focused in on the instant fame that came with August and everything after, and then how satellites, recovering the satellites, it was like a really great record, and there's a lot of story in there. And he was like, if you had any love or interest for maybe talk to Adam and see. And it's like that's a gift. That's like Willy Wonka and I get the golden ticket and our chocolate bar. So the answer was like a hard yes. And then when I did get to talk to Adam and meet him, he's in New York, I'm in LA, so we met over Zoom a couple times, and he's as you can imagine, he's just so lovely individual, and as a wonderful storyteller, singular talent. What I didn't realize is that he is a very astute cinephile.
Yes.
So anyway, hilarity ensues years later. It took us a couple of years to make the movie, but but that's the short answer.
Sweet. And I've seen that interview because I've been a long time Counting Crows fan forever. And one, I just love that you guys did this, because I don't know about like for you, or if this is like you with other bands that you kind of like, and I don't want to say obsess over, but that like everybody has that one band or that one album or something like that where it's hard to describe to anybody else who may not know as much as you do about those songs or how they affect your life. But for I think for Counting Crows fans, sometimes when you talk to people about that band, they're always like, oh yeah, the guy with the dreads who dated Courtney Cox. Yeah. And you're just kind of like, oh, but there's so much more. And then, people are just like, could you just shut up? But like, it's a hard thing to convey too, because I think this fame, like I'm assuming he talks about it, I guess, in the documentary and stuff too, but there is this fame element to it that kind of overshadowed the songwriting and the lyrics, and what how each album and each song sometimes can tie together or reference back to each other. Like, so was that something that you found that maybe people also felt frustrated about, and we're glad that you were making a documentary about? Like,
Well, yeah. I mean, I think Adam, that was the story that he wanted to tell. I mean, he actually wanted to tell a way larger story, but the format only, it's like you get that 90 minutes. He's got a lot more of a story to tell, but yeah, I think that the fame element. I mean, that's kind of a central theme of the documentary. Is just at that point in time in pop culture in the 90s, like pre-internet, you fame could really do a number on a person, and we've seen a lot of people come and go. It overshadows the artist and overshadows the art, and I think that was for someone like Adam, who is a sensitive person, that kind of instant fame. And then what was interesting is to me about it, and this was included kind of in the trailer, and Adam's the one who talks about it, and David Weil does too. There's like this church of hipness. And I mean, I'm a card carrying member. Like I was about as alt, as you could, like I'm, Flaming Lips and Sonic Youth. And I had, in the 90s, you could get instantly eviscerated for appearing too famous, or too well liked, or
they used to call people sellouts who did that.
Yeah, right, sellout. So that was when we coined the term sellout.
Which is such a shame, because it's like, do you not want them to be able to make more?
Yeah, David Wild, the journalist, talks at length in the film about this kind of idea. It's like how you weren't supposed to sell out, but everyone. I mean, I'm Gen X, so like, yes, of course we're, it's just, it's built into the fabric of our DNA that we're not supposed to sell out, and yet that's of course you're trying to sell records. Of course it's just it's such a paradoxical situation. And at that time it just was so different than it is now. So yeah, I think that kind of the fame of the first record, and then sort of this backlash, overshadowed some maybe critical attention over the second record, over Satellites.
Yeah. Was I mean, there's definitely interviews and stuff like that where he's talked about the feeling of putting out that second record and what it kind of, what the fame kind of did to it and did to him. Do you feel like at any point, and maybe even in the documentary he might talk about it, but like did he ever reconcile that with the album? Because I feel like there's so much that surrounds that particular album and what he was going
recovering
through
the satellites.
Recovering the Satellites, yeah. And did he ever come to kind of, I guess, be okay with all of it and come to like it, or does he kind of hear those songs, see that album cover, and just still remember? Like, is that the impression you got?
No, I mean, I think he, like I said, I think he's a really sensitive, thoughtful person. So I think he carries a lot of stuff with him. But no, I think he loves that record. I think he genuinely like this is a great record, and these songs hold up. And I think that record's like his baby. I mean, he's got many babies, but but that's a special one.
That's fantastic though too, because it is one of those things you always want your heroes and the musicians that you love to love the songs and the album and whatever it is that you do too. And totally. I know that whole thing comes to a particular like point of view, but I'm glad he's still like, no, this is fucking phenomenal, and I don't have any, like he's not carrying any of the stuff he didn't want to come along with him. He's just like, no, these are great songs, and this is a good album, and I really love it, and I want to get it out. Still want to do it. I want to play it.
On that top, I mean, relating to what you just said, I have you seen the Mr. Scorsese, the 5-part Scorsese documentary that's on Apple?
Yeah.
Okay. When we got one of my favorite Scorsese films is King of Comedy, and when we got to the King of Comedy part, I was so ready for it, and then I was like, oh my gosh, oh how frustrating
I know.
for him that the situation that was happening in his life at that time, You know, it was probably his health was horrible, and it was one of the, you know, it was like a kind of a, it was a really bad time for Marty.
Yeah.
And so he remembers King of Comedy as like a bad experience. And I was like thinking that, I was like, oh man, I'm staring at the poster I have framed in my hallway. Like, it's so crazy, you know, that's the life of the artist and the art and our, you know, your connection to it. So
Absolutely. Yeah. It is such a bummer because you have no idea what's going on in these people. Like when you find out like an actor in a movie that you love is like, they're like, oh my God, I was going through a brutal divorce and I wanted to jump off a thing. And you're just like, oh my God, but you're so happy. And my favorite, like this whole movie saved my life, you know, and you're like, or when they're, or like you're, like you said, you're waiting for an entire like moment to come through on a documentary or an interview. And then this happens to me whenever I watch like, I don't know who does it. Is it E or GQ or somebody like that does those, like things where they go through an actor's life or their career, you know, and it'll go like 19 whatever, and I'll just they'll be like, they'll get to the movie I want and they're like, I don't remember much about that film, it was a lot of fun but whatever, and I'm like, no, you know, like they never asked Tom Hanks about The Burbs, for fuck's sake, man.
That's my favorite. Did you say The Burbs?
Yeah, The Burbs. It's a great
about a movie. 9 on the tension scale there, Rube. That's one of my favorite films. It came with the frame. Unfortunately have made people watch this.
Me too.
Movie.
Whenever,
I don't even know. Like, I recently just watched the director's commentary with Joe Dante, which was they shot it in sequential order, which is insane, but it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. I always, anytime I'm taking out the trash or I see somebody taking out the trash, I just go, I've never seen that. I've never seen somebody drive there. Yeah. Drive there.
Looks like a femur. Anyway, that's a separate podcast.
God, yeah. Oh my God, we have to do an entire Burbs podcast now. That is,
sign me up, man.
Please, that is so great. I love it. Yeah, but I'm like, somebody ask him about it, for fuck's sake. It's a great movie. Yeah. So putting this together and getting all the interviews, like one of the things that I kind of love covering is how you guys went about, because I've seen the trailer and only seen the trailer, but I saw some faces in there that I was kind of like, Cyndi Lauper is in there too. Jeff Ross, I know, and I know of course he'd be in there too, because I think Jeff and he and Bob Saget were really close. John Mayer, I think that kind of force, you know. But there were some, you know, names and faces in the trailer that I wasn't expecting to see. When you're putting something like this together, what are your resources? Are you talking directly to Adam in this case and being like, who do you want us to reach out to? Or are you doing your own on the side and you're like trying to pick and choose, who can you get, you know, who did you want to get? Walk me through that kind of process. Because Cyndi Lauper, and just in general for me, like that was kind of cool, because I think, you know, you don't expect to see her in a Counting Crows documentary. Not that everybody doesn't know each other to some extent, but it was very cool to see her talk about Adam.
Yeah, you know, it's different every time on every film, kind of, if they're interview based.
Right.
So Adam, sometimes you're like, we'll make a giant list and we'll see who's available, and you start kind of, you know, going down celebrity row. Adam was really helpful, but he's thankfully he wasn't like over my shoulder in the mix trying to, you know, puppet master, like, he was helpful in terms of like, you should really talk to this person because they were, you know, like Randall Slavin or sorry, you haven't seen the film yet, but there's like really close friends of his during this time of his life that really could speak to those experiences and just give validity to what happened. Right. And so those were sort of on the non-celebrity, although I think Randall was probably a celebrity, but
Randall, I think
an artist, photographer,
sure.
Shannon McManus, she was the manager of the Viper Room. She was lovely. This woman named Pantera Sarah, which was a total trip. So it was like, you know, he trusted us with his kind of his crew. And there was like a long list of folks that we just ran out of time and money. I mean, it would have been a 4 or 5 part series if we'd gotten everyone that we wanted to. And then there's the band, sort of the musical you know, it's like you get, because it wasn't a career retrospective film. That's not really what the Music Box series does. It kind of looks at an event or a moment in history. And so we went back to the original band members, you know, for those 2 records. So we found Matt Malley, who's not in the band anymore. He was lovely.
Yeah.
And we did interview the current guys because they've been in the band forever. They're so great. I wish I could have put their interviews in because they're hilarious and lovely people. But you didn't, again, that would have been like episode 4 or something.
Sure,
5.
sure. Oh, so there's just is there a lot of stuff that made it on the cutting room floor?
Yeah, of course.
Oh my
yeah.
God.
I think I overshoot. I think we overshoot a lot. That's kind of the,
Sure.
But yeah. So, and then beyond that, in terms of like Jeff Ross, Cyndi Lauper, like Steve Kerr is in the film.
Oh, nice.
Who is because Adam just has a very eclectic like friend group.
He does.
Group. Yeah. So he doesn't just hang with just musicians. I mean, there's like Chris Martin is in the film because he's a huge fan. I had no, how would I know this? But he's a huge fan of the Counting Crows. That the music is really meaningful to him, and he felt like Adam's style of songwriting really influenced him early on, which I thought was super cool. So there was like the influential folks, and then Cyndi Lauper and Adam are like, I don't know if they have a supper club together in New York, but they like meet, they like have dinner. They're like foodies. He's a really good chef.
Yeah.
So they have some connection there. Mary Louise Parker, obviously they have a long history.
Sure.
She's like family to him. She's like a sister to him. So she's in it. Steve Kerr is a friend. Yeah. So this film was interesting because I was like, I have no idea what Cyndi Lauper is going to say about the Counting Crows or what Steve Kerr would say about the Counting, it's fine. It was really fun. That discovery element was really fun. And, Steve Kerr is like, just on a personal level for me, such an inspirational person. And his, his family, his political background, all of it.
Sure.
I'm a big old fan.
Yeah. Me
too. And so then, once you get him talking about, on the subject of what we were saying, like how the public can turn on you. Yeah. And just getting hate from haters. And how do you deal with that? And how do you, and he gets it and takes it every day. Sure. And it's really interesting things to say thematically, sort of about the personality type that he is and also that Adam is and why, how that would affect a person. So it's just really interesting.
Right.
The cast was a super fun cast to have. And then of course, like Jeff Ross and Adam are really tight.
Yep.
And he's really funny, but what's so cool about Jeff Ross is like, he can unpack what's a joke and what's cruel.
Yes.
And so when you have the roast master general be like, yo, this is what's funny, this is what's not funny. Right. Like, it's really insightful. It was just kind of a dream in that way, a dream project.
Yeah, he is very insightful in that way too. And I think what most people are surprised about, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but I think when they see Jeff speak about something, a friend or something he's really passionate about, or even comedy, and kind of, dissecting it in that way, is that he's just incredibly knowledgeable and he's passionate about it. And he knows exactly what points to hit and when to hit them and stuff. So I'm sure that was phenomenal. The Cyndi Lauper him being foodies thing is kind of hilarious because I don't think people realize that, like, outside of music, people have other interests in lives. Yeah. So like to have them just like be in a foodies group and it's not, you know what I mean? Like that's just kind of special in its own way. Was there anything?
I hope I didn't dream that part. It was there. I think that is the case. Like I don't want to be reductive. Like no. I mean, let's just say they're New Yorkers, and all New Yorkers are foodies anyway.
Oh my God, absolutely.
But they do. I think they get together and they eat. I think, which is like so cool.
That's fucking amazing.
To imagine that dinner table,
Yeah, absolutely. And she's hilarious in her own right. You know what I mean?
She is hilarious. She's a legend. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Was there anybody that you interviewed that had said something about the Adam or the Counting Crows that you had found that you didn't even discover until you talked to them in your own research?
Oh yeah. I'm hard pressed to think about like an exact story, but I mean, all kinds of, mostly his band, they were really candid. I mean, those guys are brothers. They've been like Dave Bryson, Dan Bickery, Amy Gluck.
Mm-hmm.
They're all singular artists in their own right.
Right.
And they're like wildly talented. And then, they have this sort of shared marriage that they've had, to be a band for this long and to consistently put music out and tour. I mean, yeah, their stories are pretty hilarious.
Right.
I always wish, I'm like, they should put out a book to go along. Like, documentary filmmakers should be making books in tandem because there's so much material.
Yeah.
It's like, just take all these interview scraps and get them transcribed and throw them in a book.
That's actually a great idea that you.
It is, right? Let's market it.
Exactly. Right now, let's fucking do it.
Let's do it.
We'll just cut this one part out, and
Books
then
on
this
film.
we'll use it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I talked to a woman. I spoke to somebody, Judy. Cannot remember her last name, who was like early on when I first started the podcast. We had her on because I think she their company was just kind of ending during COVID, but for years they were a company who would send people out on movie sets, big movie productions, and then they would write the book about the production of that movie. And like her bigger ones were Star Wars, Jurassic Park, like 1 and 2, whatever. And it was just fascinating. And that's exactly what you're talking about, is exactly what they do, but for big budget like productions. And they would, all the background stuff and the details and private, separate interviews with the cast. And when it all ended, I'm just a huge Jurassic Park fan. She'd sent me the jacket that they gave her on the set of the movie, and she just wrote me a note, and was like, and it had the cool Jurassic Park emblem, and she was like, hey, all this does is sit in my closet. I'd rather it go to a true fan. Thanks so much for the, whatever. And I like, it's not touched. I'm not wearing it anywhere. But it's like, it's amazing that, but she did that. That's a great idea, because those books are cool as shit.
Yeah, they are. I mean, I like, because I make nonfiction films, and I'd say 90% of the books that I have are nonfiction. Or like oral history based or whatnot. It's just fascinating. I like to learn about other people's life. Like, how did you do that, and what happened, and what's the context, and it's all fascinating to me. But yeah,
you had brought something up about being a Gen Xer, and I got to ask. I had Melissa Aftermauer on, and I think the crux of the conversation that we had, because she has a new book coming out, and I think the crux of the conversation was just like Gen X and what happened in between, the two generations musically, and also just like the culture of going out, seeing live bands, the audiences, the Ticketmaster, that whole thing. Was there, for you, and then now making this documentary about one of the premier alt bands in the 90s and stuff like that, do you have a clear landscape of maybe what exactly happened in between the Gen X generation and then now whatever the fuck is going on now, like as far as like, you know what I mean? Like, it's, and not to like, because I'm a millennial, I guess I'm a Zennial, I don't know, I was born in 84, so I don't know where I fall in line, but I still, like, I have, memories of cassette tape, like recording shit off the radio, and then also getting a CD player, then an iPod, and all the other crap. But
that's a big question. You mean what happened musically?
Well, yeah, because this is like one of those, I mean, between now and then, because you are, like you said, you kind of were a big alt rock, or are a big alt rock person, and then you got to do this documentary about that. Would you pick up on any kind of, insights? What's your feeling on that?
I'm not sure which part of it. I'll just give a bunch of random thoughts, throw some random thoughts at you, because it's a large question. I mean, we could just at a foundational level, capitalism ruins everything. So we can start there.
Yeah.
Second, I think that, obviously the streaming, I don't want to it's kind of rote to just keep throwing the streaming services under the bus. Because on the one hand, it's democratized music in a way. There's some good things.
Sure.
The easy access is really cool, but I will always tend to steer to the Luddite side of things, or the analog side, and especially as we sort of move faster and faster and faster to a more AI generated society culture. going to a record store. I was one of the editors on this really great documentary called Other Music, which was a documentary about the closing of the record store Other Music in New York. It's an iconic record store.
Right.
And it was like the larger story was about the end of this kind of community culture that the record stores gave you. And so, and like, I'm not a church goer, no disrespect to churchgoers, but
No, me neither.
my church is in record stores and,
Yeah.
you know, bookshops and places where you can go in and find your people and find your culture. So to that end, like putting on a record, like sequencing is storytelling, and that's really important to me. And I think, and it you know, people talk about like we used to get together. I'm always like, God, I must sound like 150 years old. Like, we used to get together in a room and listen to a record. You know,
I do the
was like,
same shit though.
But like you, like I know so many. I'll hear. What's really a head trip is to have like Spotify or Apple Music or it'll be like some random shuffle or some shit, and some song it'll come whenever you get an out of sequence track from Abbey Road that comes on. It just it obliterates the whole system. You're like, oh well,
Yeah.
And therein lies the fly in the ointment, because this sounds like garbage.
Right.
I mean, it's a wonderful song, but like hearing like a tiny shard of "She Came In Through the Bathroom Window" completely out of context without the, you know.
Yeah.
This is a very long-winded route I'm taking to.
No.
We have a cold distance from music that we did not have before. But, you know, also record labels, you know, were doing their thing in the 90s and getting bigger and bigger and bigger and more, you know, they did their thing and then they all came crashing down. And then that's when independent labels came up, and that was super cool because you could find artists that you would never hear.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's a different, it's different. It's different now. We interviewed, the singer of the band, the Chainsaw Kittens.
Oh, nice.
Which, is Tyson Mead. Because he's from Oklahoma, and so am I. And I grew up seeing their shows, and they play with the Flaming Lips and stuff. So, but Adam, because he's such a voracious consumer of music, always, he would take these bands, you know, on tour that he knew, like, nobody's heard of the Chainsaw Kit. Nobody's gonna, you know,
right.
On that level.
Yeah.
They did where I was from, but like to be plucked out and to go on tour is, and they actually went on to, you know, they make great records. And I think, anyway, it was like this cool generosity and I guess a community of artists and musicians that I just don't know if we have that right now. See that right now. It's different.
In the same way, I mean, I guess it's the same way for comedians too, where it's like, you know, we see each other and know each other on the internet, you know, for the most part. Like I just did the Lucille Ball Comedy Festival this summer, and to me, it was awesome. And I was at the National Comedy Museum. It was my first time there, so I got to do stand up there and then do these interviews and stuff like that. But the cool part is like, I don't think we all get to do that much, you know, together, like unless somebody organizes it. And people's ability to organize that kind of stuff is few and far between, especially from what I'm, you know, gathering from doing these interviews and talking to people about 80s, 90s and stuff, because it's cost too much money and nobody has it. And people don't maybe feel like not that they need to get together like that anymore, but they're like, well, you know, we could stream it, or we could just put this thing together or whatever. So for us to see each other in person and then, like, you know, get to hang out and get to do these, it was weird. It was fun, but it was also, we were all, you know, we're all around the same age too. We're all like, man, is this what the older guys used to do? Like, did he just to hang out and do whatever? Because it's not the same, you know, and we don't see each other that often at all.
They would get together and do cocaine. I can answer that.
Yeah. I was going to say, a little bit.
Well, they got together.
Yeah. There was an acid trip here or there, you know. But yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah, I don't know. I wish I didn't feel as old as I feel when I talk about how I wish things were different as far as records getting together, doing that kind of stuff for music, because it's insane, to go see a band or to go see, so like I have musician friends of mine who've gone on these huge tours and they're like, I barely, we can't come back to the US anymore. And I'm like, oh, that's a bummer. How come? And they're like, well, we can only do the coasts, because if we do the middle of the US, we won't make any money because Ticketmaster takes shit, and whatever, or the venue or whatever the hell it is. So
yeah, everyone's taking a
yeah,
cut. Everybody, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I was like, I've always been hanging around bands my whole life. So,
right.
And I've made a number of music documentaries. So I know that world, and they're the hardest working people I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, the hardest.
And it's their crew and everybody else that they bring with them too,
Yeah.
and the roadies. And
Oh, yeah.
There's a whole family that goes basically on tour when they do it. So
yeah, I just finished a documentary that'll come out hopefully in the next couple of months, about another touring a country woman. A country woman.
All right.
A country woman. Could I be more obtuse?
Oh,
her name
God.
is,
That's great.
Yeah, she's wonderful. And but talk about, like, I was like, man, the work ethic.
Yeah.
Like, because you have to tour. You have all these income streams in order to keep the whole operation afloat.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. Yeah.
And and for a while it did seem like after COVID stuff, when things opened back up, maybe there was going to be this, because it did feel like people were like, fuck it, we're going to see everybody we want to see, and all these legacy bands came back out of the blue. I saw fucking Tears for Fears. They haven't toured in 15 years, like right after COVID. Oh, it's fucking awesome. It was so good.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And then seeing them and whatever, but that was so cool. But then of course, like you said, capitalism took over, and now shit's just like everybody's struggling again. But to reference what you were saying before about him taking out these bands, stuff like that, I just got to see them at PNC with my buddy Brian Fallon from Gaslight Anthem, and to have a Jersey band kind of go on tour with, it was like, first of all, he was having a fucking blast, obviously. But what's cool is I love hearing, like you said, Chris Martin has been a huge fan. He'd impacted his music. Brian the same way. When I had Brian on the show and we were talking about it, mostly when I have musicians on, I swear to God, I mention the Counting Crows in some extent. I've never gotten to meet Adam, but I am I've been to a bunch of the shows and stuff, and just same thing with Frank Turner. Frank Turner is a good friend of mine, and he's hugely influenced by. I think he told me he learned to play guitar.
I wanted to interview him. He was on my list.
Oh man, he's a great guy. Great interview. If you do,
he would have been great.
Oh, I know. I feel so bad. Yeah,
the movie's really coming out, but
yeah. I just saw
he was on my list, and I thought, oh, he seems like a really thoughtful individual.
Yes.
Yeah, we had Chris Paraba from Dashboard Confessional, and the lovely gentleman from the Lumineers, Wesley.
Wesley, yeah.
We just happened to catch them backstage at Red Rock, so I was like, oh God, with the great camera,
Fuck yeah, that's great.
Why not? And they're just, it's the same. It's like a lot of people are influenced.
Going out with Dashboard, when he went out with Dashboard, my friends and I went to see that concert, and they, I think, had made reference to, like, going to bed, or like having kid, like all that other crap too. And it was at that moment, literally, my friends and I kind of looked around. I'm like, oh my fucking God, where are those people? Where are, like, when our parents went out to see Chicago, and you were like, why? And then now we're like, oh, okay,
totally.
All right, that's fucking happening now. Yeah.
The oldies.
And just one of the other things too, I know this documentary you had said draws heavily on something Adam's talked about openly in a lot of different interviews, but just mental health, which, he's one of those guys that I remember, one of the things that resonated to me about his music was, they would always play Mr. Jones on the radio, which is a great song in and of itself. And it's a beautiful song. But it's almost like a gateway drug too, because if you kind of got that, if you were hooked on that song and you got the album, you listen to the other stuff too. So it was great, because that was what they played on the radio, and then there was all these other songs that had so much deeper meaning. And I just found myself resonating with every song on, like, all the albums that he wound up putting out, and then not only resonating with it, but I could, like, basically piece what was happening, because I was in my early 20s too, when, like, or a little younger, I guess, when Mr. Jones came out. But again, I grew up with those songs, so, like, every chapter of my life had some kind of thing that he was referencing or that he was
Sure.
going through, or emotional
Yeah.
relationship wise.
Oh yeah.
And somebody myself who deals with mental health, like you can just kind of recognize it, in the lyrics. And then for
Yeah.
him to come out and talk about it openly
Mhm.
was huge for me too, because I think the first time he had talked about it, he had said he had a dissociative disorder.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then I think at the time for me, I was like, the fuck is that? And then
Yeah.
like do whatever. And then, it makes you want to take care. Well, what makes you want to take care of yourself and just look into things a little bit more too. But I think there's that connection of having somebody like that speak about it. Does he go a little bit more in depth in this documentary
Mhm.
about his mental health?
Oh yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah, he did. I think that I think it's really brave that
Mm.
when anyone that has a microphone, literally and figuratively, like Adam does, and, share that with the world, we all feel a little less alone.
Yeah.
So, like at our core level, it's really cool to be vulnerable in that way. And I think it gives a lot of people a lot of strength to hear him say that stuff, to be open about himself and working through it all. He talked a lot about it, and I want to be sensitive to his privacy, and I would just say watch the film.
Sure.
Because he for Adam, it's like a lot of what he was unpacking was just how hard it was to figure out what was going on, which I think is always the case when you're struggling to figure out, is this normal? Okay, maybe should I be feeling like this? Okay, something's off. What is off? Just trying to diagnose what you've got going on. But when you're trying to do that in the midst of navigating, a constant pace on the road, and like, losing your anonymity, I think those would be hard on anybody.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, it's not, look, there's more interesting things in the world than having a celebrity go, oh my gosh, woe is me, I was rich and famous. And I think that is an easy way. You could look at this and be reductive and say that. But I think in his case, in Adam's case, that's not what happened. And I think,
right.
It's more like how do we treat each other in this world, and how can we help each other? And I don't know, just be a little more understanding of where each other's coming from. So
right.
He talks a lot about how that affected his just his life at that time, and what he's done to manage the dissociative disorder, and it even unpacks what it even is, because he said for a long time they were treating him for bipolarity and just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
So it's he was really brave, and I felt we built up enough trust to go there and talk about that. So
beautiful.
Yeah.
And I can't, the media has a tendency to, especially I think 10, 15 years ago, just kind of extrapolate something when somebody's trying to open up in that way, and then it puts this perception out of, like, exactly what you said, like, oh my god, it's just some boohoo artist complaining about being rich and famous, when it's like, no man, this is a guy trying to figure out his life and being open about what he's feeling. And you can be grateful for your success while at the same time going, Jesus Christ, what the fuck is wrong with me? How do I fix this? And
you can hold multiple truths at the same time. And being that reductive is like, it's just a clickbaity kind of a way to approach it. But yeah, he's deeper than that. Absolutely. He's a really deep dude, obviously, from the lyrics of the songs. He's a poet.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's kind of like, one of the things that I always found interesting about him too was his approach to playing something live. I think he had said, I don't want to be a jukebox, and I don't want to play. Yeah. Did you?
Yeah. That is the case. And it's cool. Like, I I don't want to hear the same. I don't want, if I could turn on the radio or a CD, I mean, that's what that medium is for.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And they're
love to
having
hear,
fun.
they're having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, he talks about this in the film. And I was so into this because I'm a huge fan of the band Big Star,
Oh yeah.
which, I mean, Adam is a big fan. And so
Sure.
he took Alex Chilton on the road, and Alex was opening shows. But I mean, if you know anything about Alex Chilton, he's a very, especially at this point in time in the late 90s, he was like a very combative figure on stage, which was, you know, and Alex Chilton's not going to play, you know, the Big Star songs like you want to hear them too.
Sure.
But Adam was saying how frustrating it was because the audiences at that point, because of the success of August, and they just wanted to hear Mr. Jones, and they didn't have much beyond that. And it was just like, we want to hear it, and we want to hear it like it does in the radio.
Yeah.
And they would get pissed at Chilton, and then Adam would come on horrified because that's his hero.
Yeah.
And it was just, you know, then he would play the songs like, you know, however the fuck he wanted to play them, and storm off, you know. So it's like, it was an interesting dynamic that he had at that point with like, no, I'm not gonna do it the way you want me to do it.
Right down at the New Amsterdam, stand at this yellow-haired girl, Mr. Jones started up a conversation with his black hair. Flamenco dancer, you know, she dances while his father plays guitar. She's suddenly beautiful, and we all want something beautiful. So come dance to silence and do the morning.
And I found that to be the case in many of his stories that he told. I guess that was a kind of a surprising thing to answer maybe your earlier question. Like, I didn't realize to the extent of which he's kind of an uncompromising dude in a way, and like across the board. Not to be not for the sake of being, you know, opposing whatever, but I think he's just like, he just takes, at least especially when it's just concerning his music, I think he's just like very he takes it very, very seriously.
Yeah.
And he's going to do it his way. And I think that that's really cool.
Me too. Yeah, it's just who he is. And there's nothing more fun for a real Counting Crows fan than to go to a concert and see people who have never been there before think they're going to sing along to Mr. Jones, and they can't. And you're just like, this is just pure joy.
Pure joy. Pure joy.
Yeah, because he's not like, you know, he's for me, sometimes it's like, is he making some of this up on the spot? Because like sometimes he'll throw in lyrics, and I've been to the live shows where I'm like, I don't think I heard that one last time. Like, I don't know what the hell's going on.
Oh my God. We had this is some real insider baseball. We had an intro of the film cut. We were in picture lock, basically. We'd finished the movie and we're delivering it to HBO. And it was an intro, and we had taken one of his live performances of Mr. Jones and used it to intercut this opening credits montage. And it was beautiful, and I loved it. And I'm a big music fan, like a fucking nerd about music. And I cannot believe that it took me so long to not realize that Adam I was like, why is this version, like, it was real kind of like lopey and like a time, you know, it's like it does not sound like Mr. Jones at all, which I thought was really cool. And I was like, well, we're going to start with this. And so the first line is like, he's like, so you want to be a rock and roll star? So he's weaving the Birds. That's a Birds song.
Oh my God.
He was weaving into the song, and he did it so seamlessly that I didn't even pick up on it. I was like, oh, that's weird. This must be a weird version I haven't heard. It's like topically, like if you just literally go, so you want to be a rock and roll star? Listen now to what I say. I'm like, that's a brilliant way to open. Yeah. Well, turns out you have to pay the Birds if you're going to do that. I was like, you're shitting me. Oh no, that's a recut. You know, so it's like, because you get to the end of a movie and you're out of money. Like, you don't have money to pay the Birds at the 1 yard line. So, yeah.
Paying the
Anyway.
birds should be some kind of secret language between now you and whomever.
Now you got to
Are
pay
we
the
gonna do
birds.
this? We got to pay the birds. Yeah, we don't want to do that.
Yeah,
That's fucking
yeah.
hilarious.
I know, and I love the birds too, but
Yeah.
like, you know,
No, who
not
doesn't?
for
They're
like
great.
that was like a two lines. I'm like, oh no. I was like, damn it, Adam, you got me.
What? Yeah, seriously. What? You know, what started you on this path of making, you know, documentaries and stuff like that, just about music in general? I mean, like, was this something you would always set out to do? Did you always want to just know? How did you come upon this?
I lucked out. We'll just say that I lucked out because I made a film. My first film was, I mean, it was about Hal Ashby, and it's called Hal, and it was made with such love and care with my team, who I make every one of my films with because they're the most lovely, beautiful people. They're the smartest people in the room, in any room we go into. They're all directors and it's crazy, the talent pool that I've managed to cobble together all these years. So we made this movie Hal together, and it did well. And we didn't do it with a studio. We didn't have any money. Nobody got paid. People actually my producers went in debt, paying for music, you know, to get it made. And then it premiered at Sundance, and Oscilloscope bought it, and our careers kind of went from there. And it was like,
wow.
I always think about that in terms of like, you know, like what you have, like what to do, and when you're faced with hard decisions creatively and artistically. And I just think about that time of my life when we didn't have anything, and the only thing that we knew to do was to make that movie because we were compelled to. So good things come out of that. Good things will happen when you're not doing it for, you know, for other reasons, I guess.
Yeah.
And so because that movie resonated with a lot of folks, during the pandemic, I was approached by Sheryl Crow's team because they wanted to make a film and Sheryl had seen that movie.
Wow.
And so she really liked it, and she liked the way that I handled the story and interviews. And so we met, and so I made that movie, and then out of that came another film, and so they kind of took this music route. But I think because I love musicians, I love their stories, I love it. I love the whole world. There's other films that I'm working on and developing that aren't necessarily music based, but I did kind of find myself over here, and a quite enjoyable lane to be in. It could be much worse.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And is there anything, I mean, coming up that influenced or inspired you as far as a book? Because there's so many great books on music and on different genres, decades, stuff like that. Anything that you kind of carried with you while you were learning about all of this, how to do it?
Just about filmmaking I mean, I'd say I buy a new book every other week, and it's usually Sam Wasson is a phenomenal writer. He writes about films.
Sweet.
Yeah, you should get his books.
Sam Wasson, you said?
Sam Wasson, yeah. I'm reading a book about Leon Russell by Bill Janovitz. Have you read that?
No.
I mean, it's like War and Peace, dude.
But
it's like so
I have seen it though, and it scares the shit out of me because it is daunting. It's huge.
Yeah,
is it? I'm assuming
it's like infinite jest for music. Like you're like, oh wow, it's really, really good. It's really phenomenal. And then there's a book that everyone should read if you're interested in this. That's the creator of The Lowdown and Reservation Dogs. His name is Sterling Harjo.
Yeah.
He recommended a book to me about the making of Astral Weeks, and it's like the secret history of 1968. And it's the making of Astral Weeks, but it's sort of about much more than that. It's like this crazy era in Boston, and it's a fascinating read. So these are the kinds of when I'm like, yeah, it's about the making of Astral Weeks, sure.
Right.
But it's really about what's going on in America. There was this cult. There was, the Boston Strangler.
Yeah.
Martin Luther King had just been assassinated. James Brown gave this crazy concert. You know, like
Right.
I'm just so fascinated by that. Like what's the story under the story?
Sure.
And if there's a music sort of blanket over it, it's like all the more interesting to me.
Absolutely. Yeah, when there's this
Yeah.
confluence of events and there's like the thread that's
Yeah.
holding it together is like what was happening musically at that time. I'm like, give me more of that.
Yeah, totally.
Anytime I'm watching a documentary, especially a history documentary, and then it always gets to that point where like, and the scene, like it'll cut to like a hard stop and a song will start playing and it'll be like the music scene at the time. And I'm just like, now fucking we're getting somewhere. This
Now
is it.
we're talking.
Yeah, now we're talking. Let's keep going. Yeah, when I started doing this, it was one of those things where I had, you know, my buddy, like people I've worked with before, so like Lewis Black, Robert Klein, you know, all the comedians that I admired and respect and gotten to work with or whatever. And then at one point I just asked my manager, I was like, can we get bands on that I like? And it was like this night I literally went down like my 90s dream playlist of people that I wanted to meet. And that's the most, I don't give a fuck. I mean, I love I've been in comedy for 20 years and it's great and I enjoyed doing it. But there's, again, music is that thing that fucking holds people together. It's what you listen to, you know, and there's nobody, I mean, I love, like, not to disparage my own craft, but I do love comedy and it gets people to do some shit, but nobody's walking down the aisle to one of Richard Pryor's bits. You know what I mean? So like, it's not a, you know, you don't have like,
I will say I have found myself an odd number of times I've gone to John Mulaney's Baby J performance.
Yeah.
And played that. I'm like, it's kind of weird how much this show, just listening to it, because Drag City put it out. I'm like, this is actually really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's different.
Absolutely.
Musicians are like, they're like magicians, man. They're like,
oh yeah.
And we have such a cool, like, we get to film them on, you know, like on stage and like from the stage, and it really is like witnessing like a religious, you know. I'm like, you guys are like levitating, and you're like, this is some real hocus pocus up here. It's fascinating. It sounds great, and then they're, you know, it's this is a really, really cool, you know. And I mean, you interview people, so you understand. There's like, it's really gratifying to sit and talk with your, I mean, in your case, if you've had your favorite bands on, I mean, these guys are, you know, they're like, I don't want to traffic in hero worship, but it's really cool to get to ask questions of people that you admire.
Yeah.
And have them answer honestly, to get in a conversation is great.
Favorite bands, and then to have them come back and do this again, or like I do an MS benefit every year. It'll be the 50th. This year will be the 5th year for the National MS Society, and just to have those guys volunteer their time to come back, and I do it for like 24 hours, and they'll, you know, Robin Wilson did a 5-song set, you know, for the benefit, and it's all straight, you know, and it's just these guys that I'm just like, I'm trying not to geek out because I'm still a kid, you know, like I'm still like, this is fun. I was telling Robin not too long ago, I was like, you know, one of the things, it's so nerdy and nobody gives a shit about it but me, but I got to when I was like 20, 21, I think I was just started doing stand-up at 20, and then the Gin Blossoms were at Jenkinson's in Point Pleasant Beach, New Jersey, which is, you know, my friends and I went there to get drunk. We didn't, you know, they were there and we were like, let's fucking go see. And they were awesome. And then cut to, you know, whatever, I got to perform at Jenkinson's as a comic, you know, on that stage. And I told him about it, but like nobody understood at the time. I was like, oh, fuck. For me, I was like, my God, one of my favorite bands of all time, you know, got to perform here. And now I'm doing it too. Nobody but it's a cool.
No, it's a personal milestone for you, for sure.
I was like, this is great, and he understood, you know. But I was just like, yeah, man, I'm a total geek about that kind of shit. And now, you know,
yeah, dude, I think it's okay to be a geek like forever.
Yeah,
I mean, you're not like fully alive if you're not like, if you're experiencing something like that and you're not pinching yourself and making the direct, you know, correlations and having like a moment, like there's something's off, because that's profound, you know. It's like, well, like when we were, you know, filming the Counting Crow, we filmed them at Red Rocks. We didn't know how much of the footage we were going to use, and it wasn't a tour doc.
Sure.
We filmed them at the Troubadour. That was our first shoot, which is nuts, because the Troubadour, if you've ever been there, it's about the size of my living room.
Yeah.
And it was packed, obviously. I think Cindy Crawford, it was hilarious. And so that was one of the, that there's so much history in that room.
I just
And then
like that you
you're like-
mentioned her name briefly and then
I was like, I don't
and
even.
Cindy Crawford,
It's like a longer story, but
they hit me.
it was really funny.
Go for it.
Well, we were all standing outside because downtown is this, this iconic Italian restaurant right next to the Troubadour.
Right.
And it doesn't matter. She was standing there, and we couldn't figure out. We were idiots, and we couldn't figure out how to get into Dantana's. And she's like, she says to Brian, she's like, you just go in the host stand, they'll take you. And like, it was totally a reasonable response. And it was like, Cindy Crawford, is that you're talking to? It's like, she looks just like she did in the 90s, like exactly the same. It's like, and then we're all just kind of stunned. I don't get celebrity, like, I don't get that anymore.
Right.
Like hit by, we're like, whoa. Because we interview so many of them and they're all really cool people. And so it's like, oh, that's interesting. I just thought that night was really funny because I was like, I can't believe I'm in this room filming and directing it. It's just, sometimes it'll just,
Sure.
Life is, if you're open to it, reveal itself in the coolest ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And for that instance in particular, for somebody like, it's an extra character that you didn't expect it. Like Cindy Crawford is not, you were like, oh, where did this could only happen in this moment?
Apparently a fan.
Time. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you were like,
apparently a big fan.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so
Which
cool.
makes sense. So when you think about it, I was like, Adam, of course.
Yeah.
Because all those 90s amazing actresses, like he knew them all.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Sarah,
Courtney Cox, Jennifer Aniston, every single one of them. And just to have that in the song Long December, where he's talking about going up to that hilltop, and whatever, and then hearing pieces of stories from other people at that time while they're there who were like, yeah, we saw Adam, like all these people that were there, you're like, holy shit, it's bigger than maybe he was even, describing where all they used to hang out.
Well, I drove up to Hillside Manor sometime after 2 a.m. And we talked a little while about the year. I guess the winter makes you laugh a little slower, makes you talk a little lower about the things you could not show her. And it's been a long December, and there's reason to believe maybe this year will be better than the last.
And does he, this is another thing too, and I don't necessarily want to say it's like a resurgence, but the amount of people that have been covering Long December. Like,
yeah, what's up with that?
I was going to ask you because, but
I just saw Linderman covered it. Someone
yes,
sent me Jay Linderman or I was like, wait, what? That's crazy.
Yeah, Linderman did it. Gracie Abrams did it.
Gracie Abrams,
yeah. for the fire.
I guess it's a testament to the song. To
exactly.
The of the song.
And every time somebody covers it, I'm like, man, I wish Adam was doing it for like for an event or whatever. But I'm happy. Like, I love when other artists that I enjoy cover, like the song or whatever, and it's fucking awesome.
Well, he covers his picks, his choices, the songs he curates to cover.
What do you call it?
Blues Run the Game by Jackson
Run the Game
blew my mind.
I love that song.
Yeah, me too. We licensed the original version for the
his
film.
His story is tragic, by the way. I don't know
joke.
if you know, right?
I do know his story.
Oh
my
God.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. Like
Yeah, I know, right? If I had infinite, if I had a trust fund or something, and I didn't have to worry about trying to sell films to streamers or whatnot, I would. I would make the Jackson C. Frank film, unless there might already be one made. But yeah, I love it. That record, the Blues Run the Game on, is really great.
Oh my God, absolutely.
But
and Paul Simon produced it, didn't he?
Did he really? I didn't know that.
I think Paul Simon was the one who was close with him and was in love with that song and was basically like, I'll make this album or whatever.
Kind of like Jackson Browne and Warren Zevon.
Yes.
Sort of a deal. Yeah.
Absolutely. Kind of that kind of a thing, which is always just blows me away, the connections that people have for that. But yeah, no, and then he did the Joni Mitchell, not sorry, not Joni
Yeah.
Mitchell.
No, he did it. Didn't he do a Joni Mitchell song?
He did the Paved Paradise.
Now he's covering Taylor Swift all the time, which is hilarious.
He does, yeah,
I love
which
it.
is I think that's hilarious too, and he does it as live shows. But what's the
He loves Taylor Swift.
the Grateful Dead song that they covered that I love?
Does he do Box of Rain? No.
No.
Oh, please.
Friend of the
Let's start. Oh, okay. Like, let's start naming
Grateful Dead. Friend of the Devil is a
How much
great
time do you
fucking
have?
cover. I mean, that
It's
was
great.
like, amazing.
It's a great song.
Is there when you're shooting that kind of a thing and like you're talking about, like you said, you were at Red Rocks and you've got you didn't know how much footage you were going to use. How much of like backstage access are you allowed to have? Like, is it just free reign and then you're like you can go kind of wherever they want it? Because you said it wasn't a tour documentary, but obviously you do have
No.
to get stuff backstage. So how selective are you about where to go, when to go? Are you getting tips from him, the band, or is it basically where you guys want to shoot them? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how does that kind of work?
You just want to stay out of the way. I mean, honestly, like there's a million different, you can, cover it in a lot of different ways. Since we weren't filming front of house, like with a jib and,
Yeah.
we are for lack of a better, we're like the BTS crew, but, there's, because we've done this now for a number of years and been on tour with bands for decades. There's a time and a place to have a camera around, and then there's a time to leave them alone.
Sure.
It's like they don't want a camera in their face. They just got off stage, or they're just about to go on stage, or there's like these moments. It's like just respect the group. But a lot of my favorite films are. It's also Scorsese again. I mean, The Last Waltz is incredible. He's right there with them the whole time, all up in their faces with the dolly track on stage.
Right.
It's just, you just have to be like, just don't be an asshole, basically.
Right.
It's kind of my rule.
Yeah.
Writ large,
Yeah. Absolutely.
in terms of like when you have, well, in general life, but I mean, also, especially with the camera.
Right.
Don't be an asshole.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And then is there any particular point where you felt like, because how good are you at walking away from the projects that you have? Like even now, like this is completed, but you said there's a lot of stuff on the cutting room floor. Are you constantly still editing in your head where you're like, oh man, I wish I had thrown this in there, or
No, I mean, kind of, yeah. Like you're always going, dang, I wish on a couple of things. That always sort of, it's just like you run out of time or you run out of money. But the team that I have, like we workshop something to death. We'll try it 9 ways to 1. If somebody has an idea, it's more of it's not made by committee, but it's a very democratic atmosphere because they're all really smart. And so we'll try it, So I don't necessarily ever feel like, oh, we could have done that in a totally different way. It's more like, just wish there was more time to include, more of this segment. Or with music docs especially, what I always wish is I just want more of a music budget, because it's really expensive to license songs, as it should be. The musicians need to get paid. So I'm not against it. It's just like, it's a little prohibitive when you're trying to make a music doc, but it's those are the things I wish. But yeah.
Well, it is funny that you say about the licensing and stuff like that too, because some of the times, there's some. Are you a Scrubs fan?
Scrubs?
Yeah, the show Scrubs.
Oh no, I was like, okay, it's a band.
No. So like, but this is a good. So like, there's
I like Sparks. Yeah, Scrubs. Yeah, the hospital show, right?
Yeah. Okay. Zach Braff and Donald Faison and John C. McGinley. But that was one of those shows that, like, I think it was Bill Lawrence's wife who basically, and Zach Braff, like they do the same thing that they do with like Shrinking or whatever. Like they're very big on their soundtrack, and a lot of those. Counting Crow songs found their way into the songs or whatever, and they're great, and so did Colin Hayes music, and all that kind of stuff. It was kind of like brought it to the early 2000s and stuff. But you go to watch it on a streaming service and they don't fucking have the rights to those songs. But I'm like, you're Netflix, you have $1 billion. Just pay the music, pay the artists the money. Because like I'll watch an episode that I know has a Counting Crows song in it, and then I'm like, and then they'll put something that no one doesn't fit with the they wrote it specifically to have this song play and whatever it is, and I'm like, what is this shit? It changes the whole thing. But it is weird, like getting the licenses, that kind of stuff. I guess is expensive, but if you're $1 billion fucking company, shell out the money to the artists who deserve it.
This is the part, yeah. This is the part of the conversation where I do like a Ralph Furley, and I'm like, but I love Netflix because the Netflix is okay by me.
I know you're. Yeah. Well, she's fine.
No,
me too.
No, I think the point that you raise is like music can drive. It really, really drives the story, and it can drive it into a ditch, or it can drive it up into the up into the stratosphere, and that's depending on the cut. And a lot of that is depending on the music supervisor that you have. And we've worked with some really good ones. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
sweet.
But I know that, like I mentioned, Sterling Harjo, his show The Lowdown. If you haven't seen that,
no.
It's so good. It's so good. And but for me, the music is, and it's like mostly old stuff. But Tiffany the director Allison Anders, her daughter Tiffany is a world-class music supervisor, and she souped that show, and it's got such a vibe to it. And I'm like, man, this is some damn good supervision, because you can just really tell, like, it just is married to the story in a way that it really it just supports it at every level, and sets the tone. It does it right.
Yeah. And you can't, they go hand in hand. I mean, like I said, there's a reason they're picking that kind of stuff for this particular scene or whatever the hell it is. And I'm like, man, it becomes part of the writing at a certain point. You're like, people agonize over it. I mean, like, I'm sure today people are agonizing over which song to use for an Instagram post, but and that's even more agonizing. You're like, God, what's going to go with this picture of me with a red Solo cup, clearly drinking, or whatever. God, this has got to be perfect.
It's got to be Ween. It's a song from Ween, right?
Exactly. Oh my God. And then a couple more questions, then I'm going to let you go. But what is something you would like audiences who maybe never seen The Counting Crows to get out of the documentary that you made?
I just like them to watch it. I know that the fans of the band will obviously fans will come. I'd like people that don't necessarily know about their music, or are ambivalent to it, or maybe just didn't pay attention in the 90s to watch. Or if you have a preconceived idea of who Adam is based on reductive details along the last 30 years, dreadlocks and celebrities, etc.
Sure.
Maybe watch the film.
Yeah.
He's a lot more than that. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. Great. And was there any, point in time where you had come across like the idea of interviewing somebody like celebrity wise that maybe like, how do you go about going like, I could talk to this person who I think would have a specific point of view, but does it fit the narrative of the documentary that I'm making at this point? You know what I mean? Like, do you ever juggle between like, okay, maybe this person might not be the best to interview, but we also want to get their how do you decide which documentary you're making? You know what I mean? Like, if that makes any sense of like let's basically what I'm saying is, how do you go about going like, do we want to interview an ex, and which ex is, and
okay,
what they meant to,
what's the question behind the question? To answer your question,
how do you, there's famous ones,
yeah, well, I will say I did not interview Jennifer Aniston or Courtney Cox. I'm sure they're amazing women. Sure. They are clearly. It just didn't. It wasn't going to be an additive element to the film and the story that we were telling for this particular story. I think if you were going to do a more comprehensive look at his life, at the band's life, then there's a lot of people that you would include. Yeah, man, it's just like what kind of story are you going to tell?
Yeah, because there is always those people, like anytime I watch a documentary on somebody, even if they've passed away or whatever it is, where for some reason they're always just like, oh man, they didn't talk about or they didn't interview. Well, I'm like, well, his whole fucking lifespan is not this one blip of time in between a thing.
Yeah.
It's more, there's more to it than that. And maybe that's the
Yeah,
part
and
you're
it's
focusing
also
on.
that's a kind of like the filmmaker's take, it's
Sure.
like that's just my opinion, man. It's like
Yeah.
you don't sometimes you're kind of steering it in this one direction. I will say, like, there's just always like a longer list than we always run out of time and money. Like if you have more time and money, there's a whole bunch of people I would have wanted to put in.
Right.
And in all of my films, I mean, there's some omissions in the Hal Ashby film that to this day I'm like, dang.
Would you ever go back?
Oh my God.
And
Well, no, I don't think no, it's like, it's like an old relationship or something. You're like, and that had its time, and
yeah.
there's no need to go back. But
No, I hear you. Yeah.
appreciate it for what it is. Yeah, I mean,
Sure.
you didn't get him, so it's like,
Right.
Warren Beatty said no, so okay,
Gotcha.
dang, all right, Warren Beatty.
Sweet. Fucking Warren Beatty, man.
That's on
always,
Warren, I know.
Yeah. Causing trouble at the Oscars
I
and
know.
shit, and then for you,
She's
that
I'm
is
sure
just
it's a lovely man, but yeah, we didn't get him.
Probably. You know what though? Fuck Warren Beatty. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna say it right here, right now.
No.
You want a piece of me, Warren? Come on.
Warren Ralph Furley again, but we love Warren Beatty. We really do.
I'm going to ask you the last 3 questions that I ask every guest that's been on the show. So first one's kind of a softball question, but if you could go back in time and talk to your younger self, what piece of advice would you give yourself that would help you today?
Oh my God. That's a softball?
Yeah. What if I literally asked you a softball question? Like, so in 83.
I know. I wouldn't do it. Oh God, that would be great, actually. That's good comedy. I don't know. I think I would tell myself just to like chill out and not take art making so seriously and have a little more fun with it. I think I get kind of academic about it sometimes.
Sure.
Well, I'm a mom too. I got kids to raise in Los Angeles, so
yeah,
it's like the intersection of art and commerce are always somewhere. Yeah, and so I think when you're a kid, it's like it's like just dream as big as you could possibly dream. It's okay. What's the worst that can happen?
Exactly.
But like stretch it out as far as you can, man.
Yeah. No, I know.
Okay, that's
a good. That was a softball. Yeah. And then the next question is, what had to end in your life, good or bad,
oh God,
that led you to where you are right now?
Oh man, some failed relationships. I mean, I would say that will move you. I mean, honestly, like sometimes things don't work out, and then you have to rearrange your life, and then other things sort of present themselves. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I mean, I agree with
what else you got, John?
Yeah. You want to go rolling up the sleeves now? Yeah.
Just met.
No, that's a good. I mean, I don't think I've ever had anybody say the relationship thing, like just in general. Like people have been like failed marriages, yada yada. But like for me, same like.
Well, it's the same thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say it is. Yeah, and I started doing stand up because like my relationship had ended, and I was like, I don't want to be where I am right now, and fuck it, why not?
Yeah.
Like I'm. It's just changed the course of everything.
You have to laugh your way out of tragedy. I mean,
oh, absolutely.
Call this. Comics are. You guys are a special breed because you talk about it and you laugh your way through it. No, we are. People, thank God, because it's a good release for me. I could never do it, but I sure do love it because it brings, again, it makes us all less alone.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. There's nothing better than being on stage making people laugh. Everything else outside of that, the business side of it, all the stuff leading up to just me getting on stage in front of a spotlight is fucking horseshit. Hate it.
Yeah.
Hate every minute of it. It's other people's like they're it just feels like there's too many for something so simple as just want to get on stage and play the drums or the, not that that's simple, you know what I mean, but like just the art form of that kind of thing, or just getting on stage to tell jokes. The pathway up to that is just fucking soul crushing sometimes. So
Sure it is.
Yeah, and you're just like,
only imagine.
If only somebody would just give me money, I would do this for free, and no one would have to give it shit about, but okay. So the last question is, tied into the name of the show. It's Dystopia Tonight. If this was a genuine dystopia, more so than it is now, and you woke up tomorrow.
Like, compared to what? Okay.
So you wake up tomorrow and you find out that there's only 24 hours left to live. Everybody knows this. What's going to be your epic death? How you want to go out, and what do you think is going to cause the end of the dystopia? Is it going to be political collapse, climate change, comet heading toward Earth, aliens, zombies? It's your choice. But what's going to be your epic death? How you want to go out?
Okay, those are two separate questions.
They are two separate. Yeah.
Okay, so the first beat is like by choice. How do I want to go out?
Yeah. What do you think it's going to? It could be ridiculous, like aliens, zombies, or what do you think is going to cause the? Hey guys, you have 24 hours left to live. This thing is happening.
I'm not really sure how to answer this. I mean, I truly think we're in a climate collapse. I mean, there's no question. So hell yeah. I think that's the answer. I mean, half of Los Angeles burned down last year. Like we're
absolutely.
I don't know. That's what's up. That's
the fact that you guys have a fire season now blows me the fuck away. So
yeah, for years now. You can't insure half the homes. I mean, climate migration is contributing to, borders and immigration policies and ICE and all those things. So I don't know, all that stuff. It's any dealer's choice. I don't know. I'm not sure. It's hard. That's a hard question for me because I have children and I want to believe that shit is not going to happen.
No, I hear you.
But I am, it's too much of my father's like influence. We're headed towards, a climate disaster of epic proportion. So
yeah, absolutely. And what would be your epic death? How you want to go out?
Oh my God. I don't know. I don't even like thinking about this. I feel like I've narrowly escaped death so many times that I'm like, got it out of that way, got it out of that way, like, I don't know, man. Kind of not speak that stuff into existence.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
I don't, yeah.
Well, let's put it, what's the album you're listening to on the last day? You get one.
Dude,
or something,
I've thought about this question, and on the one hand, it's like a very like, oh, it's the one record or whatever, and it's like, well, there's not one record. It's always like the mood that you're in.
Yeah. But
to bring it back to Astral Weeks, like I feel like that is a perfect record.
Yeah.
Me and Lester Bangs and a lot. It's a perfect record. So, and I think like, yeah, I mean, I just don't want to die on a plane or in a car. I don't even like thinking about that.
Your choice. So, no, your choice. I get it. Yeah. I don't.
Slip on a banana peel or something and be hearing Madame George.
Don't take my shtick. Come on. One trick pony. You can't be just jumping on my. This is fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on here and being a part of this.
My pleasure.
Yeah,
my pleasure.
It was great talking about it.
Fun
I'm so
conversation.
Excited. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm excited for the documentary. I really am. I'm so psyched for it. So, and it's December, so that's a perfect time for.
It's a long December.
Exactly.
So it's wild. After I make these music films, it's always like a recovery phase of like 6 months, where I cannot I can't hear the music. I need like a detox.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you.
I've just listened to it, and then I'll be in like a store or something, and I'm like, oh, hey man. This Long December is it's a great song. Yeah. It kept happening with Sheryl Crow and Melissa Etheridge. And I'm like, yeah, it's a really great song. It's so good,
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. Yeah.
Get it.
Happy long December.
Yeah, happy long December.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for doing this again.
Thanks. Bye.
Dystopia Tonight.